right, Blake, we're going live. 3, 2, 1 now.
Da-na-na, da-na-na.
All right, let me know when I'm live. The notification pushes. Mom, stop! Jesus H.
Here we go. We are live.
You can pick for us, you know.
What is that noise?
Here we go. We
Hold
are
on,
live.
this noise.
Here we go. We are live.
You can pick for us, you know.
We are live.
You can pick for us, you know. You're talking now.
This noise.
Here we go.
The other one's still up there.
What is that noise?
Go. We're live.
Pick for us, you know. We are live. Now let me get the. Yeah, Mom, just pick something for us. We'll eat whatever. Thank you. Love you. Podcast.
Bro, the other one's still up, Dre.
Is it? Oh, it's because we're watching it. It's echoing. Blake, turn it off. Welcome to the Huddle, episode 2. Today we got Panthers, aka Draysky, and
It's your boy Blizzy with the Philadelphia Eagles.
today we got some great hot topics around the league for you. So, for segment 1, we're going to talk about the Eagles are playing a game. The guy I'm talking to right now, you know, Blizzy, Blake?
The guy.
Saints stun the Eagles with a Hail Mary. How did that happen? Bring it to us in first person.
Oh, I was on the sideline during that game, and unfortunately, my deep blue in the middle of the field was what I was using at the time, and I just kind of lost my train of thought, and I straight up just did not guard it. And how nobody else got to that ball when it was sailing through the air for about 60 yards, I don't know, but it ended up being a touchdown.
Can you give us the definition of why you were using the deep blue there?
Well, I was looking for middle routes, but he ended up just throwing it all the way over my head, and that's what happened, man. Don't want to look in the past too much. Continue grinding out here and have a good season, hopefully.
Alrighty, so as you hear it first, Eagles lose the stunner versus Saints. The Saints, mind you, have a worse team than the Eagles, but we'll talk about that later in another episode.
True. That is true.
So what are your opinions on Stevie Scott leading the league in rushing yards? Here's how I see it. He has 59 attempts. The next closest person, let me check real quick. Let me make sure my facts are straight. Because 59 attempts in 3 weeks is a lot.
It's quite a lot, yeah.
Let me go to the NFL tab real quick and check it out. We'll go rushing and we'll go attempts. The next closest person is 53 with Gibbs, and he only has 270 yards. I think, personally, Patriots need to get away from Stevie Scott because that poor man is going to hurt himself if he doesn't stop getting abused.
He's definitely being overused a little bit, but the thing is he does have the most attempts, but he's definitely not been the best back in the league in my eyes. I think
Really?
there's other guys outperforming him. I think he has the touchdowns and he has the yards right now. But again, he's got way more attempts. If you look at average, J.K. Dobbins has about, 26 less carries, and he's only behind about 40 yards, 1 touchdown, runs more 8.6 average per carry. He's outplaying him statistically.
What about Brees Hall? Look at
gotta-
that. 7.9 a carry. Only on 33 attempts.
carry. Yeah, it's better. I mean,
I personally think the Patriots are a little overrated. If I do say so myself.
yeah, we head coach Sponge last podcast. He was definitely glazing the Patriots a little bit, but he's not here today, thankfully, so we're going to hear a little bit less of that. But yeah, I don't think Stevie Scott's the best back in the league, but he's definitely breaking out. He's definitely having a good year, better than expectations.
Maybe we see a late season adjustment by the commissions because that's how we do. We upgrade players when they're playing great.
You know, if he keeps it up, I could see him going up.
All he can do is hope as a Patriots fan, you know. El Pugman, give him a clap, everybody. Alrighty, and now we will have an ad break. We are sponsored by a lot of people here today. So here we go. Our first ad, Burger King, once again.
Whopper, 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 Junior, Double, Triple, Whopper, Impossible or Bacon Whopper, I rule this day. And BK, have it your way.
All right, back to the Huddle. You know, how are you feeling the Huddle's going so far? We had to delay today because I was a little bit under the weather yesterday, which I am sorry about that. I know everybody was looking forward to it.
You know, despite some delays, it's going pretty smooth, and unfortunately, it's just us two here today, missing two of our hosts. I'm not sure.
I think they're on vacation already, even though they just, we're not gonna talk about it. I think they're on vacation.
Maybe like drug vacation, yeah.
I don't know. There's some words that were said by some fellow people that we've heard before, so
they need to maybe get their heads on straight. We also, I've been hearing some murmurs about a possible commish breaking the rules. I'm not going to go into it too much, but
we'll get with that. Get with that later. The league commissioner will step up forward later and talk about it. And we've also heard some things about the color red. Somebody said they didn't like red people a little bit ago.
Red people. I'm not sure what that means.
Red people. But we'll talk about that later, as I said. On to the next segment here. We got Quentin Johnston. Some called him a bust. He said, nada. He is leading the league with only 18 catches, but 458 yards. That's impressive for the young man out of TCU. I think
you got to ask yourself, who is guarding him?
I don't know, because he's played some pretty good teams. I just don't see how they're, why are they struggling so bad to guard him? I mean, he has some decent wheels. He can run okay routes, but, a second-year player who had drop problems his first year, I was one of the players that played him, and I will say, he was pretty unguardable for me.
In week 1, 94 yards against the Raiders. In week 2 against your Panthers, 75 and a touchdown. I mean, just solid games. And then against the Steelers, they took the loss, but he had 289 yards and 2 touchdowns in that game. Looking like he absolutely obliterated the Steelers secondary, but at what cost? I mean, they didn't win the game.
Maybe they're trying to get him a dev game, make him a little bit more of a player. I mean, 6'4" frame. Some call him Megatron. Nobody calls him that.
I don't think he'll ever be called that. Actually.
But that 95 jumping shows the athleticism he has.
I think personally that he's going to end up being a bust in this league, and I think the hype needs to die down.
Ooh, he said bust. We'll get to that word later, because that is a very naughty word. Naughty. But anyway, how are you feeling about the season matchups we've had so far this week that have been played? I'll bring up a couple games. I'll give some of my opinions on them, and then you can give me some of yours.
Sounds good.
So I'll go over the Giants game and the Patriots game. Giants. I don't even know where to start. He broke the rules, as you said earlier.
Oh, that was the commissioner broke the rules, the Giants.
Yep, the Giants. That's correct.
I didn't know. I wasn't informed of that, actually.
So he threw the ball 26 times, only ran it, let me check one more, nine runs. 9 runs for the Giants.
I'm sure he'll dispute that one.
So I'm looking at the Jordan Travis from rookie from Florida State.
Can't help but notice that he also won 31-3 in that game.
Yeah, I've seen that. So I want me to think, did he run the ball when he was up in the fourth quarter?
Doesn't look like it.
But Theo Johnson with 155 yards, rookie out of Penn State. Big boy, 6'6", 264. Allen Robinson to 79 yards. And Malik Neighbors, 67 yards. Travis, look, he didn't play that good. 15 for 26. 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I mean, it's a rookie, but man, that good of an O-line, they allowed 3 sacks. What's the
You
defense?
also got to
looking
ask
like?
yourself, are Jordan Travis's stats skewed considering he broke the run-pass ratio? Is he getting more stats than he should?
He
Maybe.
definitely is, because he should not be leading the league in passing yards if I'm being realistic.
It's a great point.
Jordan Travis, let's be real, he's not going to be nothing in this league. He won't. Let me see if there's anything that spots out for this game, anything good. Burns did his thing. 3 picks for Isaiah Simmons, that's a pretty impressive game. Did he have any touchdowns? 2 touchdowns, too. That one's a defensive player of the week, it looks like. Now, let's check this Patriots game out. How much you
It's
think?
a big game.
Over under Stevie Johnson or whatever the nigga's name is. Sorry, excuse my French. But his name is 169 passing yards for Drake May with 136 rating.
Now,
2 touchdowns.
that is really efficient and all, but 170 yards for a guy who's supposed to be a franchise quarterback, is that screaming bust?
Bust. As that word you brought up earlier, now that might be in contention for bust. I mean, that's pretty sad. Aaron Rodgers, though, 54 rating, 3 picks, 2 touchdowns. I mean, what the hell happened to that guy?
Aaron Rodgers looked horrible. 41% completion?
About Aaron Rodgers,
Yeah.
I have something I think that's happening realistically with Aaron Rodgers. He's seen Robert F. Kennedy say he was going to join Trump, and he was trying to get in on that action. I think he was just done.
You know, sorry to interrupt. I can't help but notice the guy who was pocket watching my rule break, the Jets, only ran the ball 5 times in that game.
5 times.
So 29 to 5
no,
ratio.
that
I
might
can't
be
help but
a
notice.
rule
I'm not trying to be
break.
but
Let me write that in
but
the
he did
notes.
snitch on me. I mean, I can't help but notice. You know, not snitching, just can't help but notice.
That's in my notes, because that's a good point. I'm pretty sure I think he's been warned already, too. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, considering he was only ever down like 3 or 4 points till the end, I think that's, you know, but anyway, yeah.
Wow.
I think Aaron Rodgers looked terrible out there, and I think, you know, maybe it's time to move to Zach Wilson. I mean, he is a franchise QB tag.
I have one more thing to say about these matchups. Garrett Wilson was in a box. 2 catches for 35 yards. He might be a screaming bust. I'll let you talk about your games real quick, and I'll come in also.
Let's see what games I want to cover here. Probably going to do Chargers Steelers. And let's say Chargers Steelers, and let's say Broncos Buccaneers. Let's do Chargers Steelers first here. Chargers Steelers. Really high scoring. Fields, 243 touchdowns, no picks, 85% completion. Justin Fields looked fantastic out there. And maybe they made the right decision starting him over Russell Wilson. Fields just no mistakes. Only one time was he sacked. Can't say the same for Herbert. And while, you know, maybe Quentin Johnston deserves a little bit of respect, it almost seems like Herbert was forcing the ball to him with those 4 picks.
30 passing attempts.
It's a lot of passes. And it looks like they actually did run the ball, unlike the Jets, thankfully.
Quentin Johnston, my lord.
Yeah, I mean, Quentin Johnston had a great game, but like I said, is he getting a little bit of force feeding? I mean, 4 picks, you got to think, was Herbert forcing the ball to Quentin Johnston? Was he trying to get him stats?
I just want to know, 0 sacks allowed by that O-line of the Chargers. How in, excuse my French, the hell do you throw 4 interceptions with that much time?
You got to watch your language there. But yeah, I'm not sure. They got Joe Alt, obviously. That's some much news. And you got Alton Slater on the edges. I mean, you feel a little more safe in the pocket, I would imagine.
And how about their defense? How about let's talk about the Khalil Mack and Bosa overpaid edges? Question mark.
The only player with a sack in that game was Morgan Fox.
I don't even know who Morgan Fox is. He's just a white guy from CSU Pueblo.
What we do need to talk about, though, is that Pitt defense. 2 picks for Queen, 2 picks for Dante Jackson.
Oh, my.
They're both really good athletes at their position, and they look great. Junior Colson even out there. He did TFL.
I just see complete domination in this game, if I'm being real. The Chargers just don't look ready for this year. It looks like another rebuilding year under Jim Harbaugh. I mean, Herbert might not be the franchise guy. Yeah, he got paid, but what has he shown that he's a franchise guy?
You definitely gotta look elsewhere than just Quinn and Johnston if you want to win games and not just put up stats.
All right, what's
Stats
your
are
other
great,
game?
We got the Broncos versus the Buccaneers, which is the part-timer himself, DeRizzly Bear 69. He was a co-host in episode 1. He's the Broncos, but the Buccaneers. Talk about this game a little bit. The Bucs, 224, 2 touchdowns with Baker, 52% completion. You want to be a little better than that. I'm not sure if Josh Allen actually was on the Broncos. I think those are stats from the... Well, no. He probably did play in this game.
When did Josh Allen get on the Broncos? I'm confused.
It was a massive trade. I'm not sure how you missed it, actually.
Well, this is new news to me. Breaking news! Beedoo! Alert! Sorry for the fake-ass drama, but where is this trade at? So we're going Josh Allen for Sutton, Miners. 4 first-round picks.
That's right.
1, 2, 3, and 4. Holy moly. Holy shit. I didn't see this
I'm
trade.
thinking about, though, is after making that trade, how did you lose to the Bucs?
I
You
don't
just
know.
trade all your future away now. Josh Allen goes out there, throws 2 picks anyway, and loses his first game.
Wow. I mean, I don't understand. I mean, wow. Josh Allen on that Broncos team is not that bad. I mean, the team's still bad, but
Can't help but notice, not to be a snitch or anything, that the Bucs threw 19 times and only ran 5. But, it was a great game for the Bucs, despite a possible rule break. Baker went out there and balled. They definitely didn't run the ball at all, so can't say much on that.
Josh Allen was the leading rusher. I think that is a problem.
Deebo Samuel, 11 receptions for 129 yards. Looking at a situation where there's some spamming going on to one receiver, and that might have lost them the game. They just couldn't find other targets. Javonte Williams had 100 yards out of the backfield. But other than that, it's just Marvin Mims, 42 yards and a touchdown, a couple tight end targets.
Looks like a pass-heavy offense for this Broncos.
Yeah, well, I mean, they ran the ball pretty well, too. Josh Allen ran for 60. Javonte Williams ran for 47 and a touchdown. Even Troy Franklin got involved in a jet sweep for 3 yards.
3 sacks allowed for the Broncos. That's pretty bad.
At the end
Here's
of the day,
what I don't understand.
The Bucs didn't even play that well, but they still got the dub.
How can you give up on Bo Nix that young? I mean...
Well, I believe he was struggling with Bo Nix. I'll go take a look at the stats.
But, I mean, he's still struggling with Josh
Allen did not have a great game. You're right. It's true. Bo Nix. I mean, pretty similar stats to what Josh Allen's done, if we're being honest. Bo Nix, 600 yards, 4-4. Josh Allen, 308, 2-2. It wasn't that big of an upgrade so far.
I think we have some questions
Just
going on in
completion
this
percentage.
league. I don't know. We'll see. Some of these moves that were made are kind of iffy.
Definitely were. Hopefully we'll see him pick it up, though. Because he traded his entire future away for that franchise QB.
And then, while we're talking about it, if you guys didn't know, we have you get rewards for tuning into the streams or watching our podcast. So today's secret word, it's Caden has mutton chops. I'll repeat that again for everybody in the back. Caden has mutton chops.
That's Kadin, not Kaden.
And that will be the word you type in. Let me find a chat for you to type it in this week. Type it in the Type it in the. Come on, think here, Commish. Wheel spin rewards. Let's do wheel spin rewards again. So type in Caden has mutton chops, Kadin, and you will get a reward that we'll find out by the time we sim. And we have a couple more topics for you, but after our sponsor by JMate. We can't say the real word, but let me find our sponsor real quick. Where'd you go? We have lost our sponsor from JMate. So we found it again, and they're sponsored by us again.
Yo, ever heard of Jerkmate? It's fun, entertaining, and addictive with a spicy, sexy twist. Come see for yourself and watch thousands of crazy girls do things that are beyond your wildest dreams. Join in on the fun today.
Thank you with our sponsor from Jerkmate. And Blake,
Jerk
can you
isn't
take
beef
over
jerky.
for a second and talk about how what team you think's a fraud? I have a phone call to answer real quick.
Okay, we're gonna pick one fraud, and I don't think that's the correct terminology actually, but we're gonna pick a team that's looking a little fraudulent, maybe looking a little too good, and then a team that's maybe looking a little bad right now, but could come up and become a better team. Let's start out with the fraud. My selected fraud. Tough choice. Hate to be that guy. They just beat a good team. But I think their luck's going to run out. The New England Patriots are my fraud. I believe they're undefeated. Indeed, they are. 3-0. They're too young. They're just not that great. Drake May can't put up numbers. Stevie Scott III is not. Stevie Scott III is not going to keep this up. And if he does, I mean, where is the fight in this league? Where is the fight? You can't let a 59 overall run off you. They're my fraud. The Patriots are my fraud. They don't deserve to be 3-0. And my possible team on the come up. Let's see. Give me the Denver Broncos is my possible team on the come up. We saw them barely beat the Bucks.
The Denver Broncos.
Or sorry. The Denver Broncos barely lost to the Bucks. My apologies. Or no, they beat the Bucks. Sorry, we're having technical difficulties here. My screen is glitching out here. The Denver Broncos beat the Bucks by 6 points.
All right, we got to fix it.
After acquiring Josh Allen. But he didn't play that well. But I think it's a really big move. I think it's a pretty no-brainer selection for me. They just traded 4 first-round picks and more to get this quarterback. He better go win them games.
That's true.
They're my sleeper. I think they're going to be a lot better now that they have Allen, despite losing a franchise right guard in Quinn Miners. I think they're going to be a much better team at this point. What about you, Dre? What's your sleeper and what's your team that's a little too hyped up?
See, personally, I don't want to say it because you already said it, so I'm not going to say it. I think the Giants are frauds. Fraud.
Oof.
F-R-A-U-D. Fraud.
Not a bad choice.
I mean, Jordan Travis, come on, let's be real. Who is this kid? Nobody knows this kid. He's Florida State. He broke his leg. That's all we know about him. I mean, let's be real.
Chopped it in half. It was an ugly sight.
You really think he's going to be your franchise guy? Throwing picks every game? No, it's not happening. And then that team is just horrible. Once he plays a real team, he will get manhandled. The Browns don't have a quarterback, so I understand their problems.
True. They don't.
And don't even get me started on my non-frauds, my hopefuls. I have multiple hopefuls, but it was challenging to come down just to one. And I'm going to say it. I don't want to have to say it, but I have to say it. The Pittsburgh Steelers.
Wow.
They have blew multiple teams out in this league this year. And putting up 59 points with a Justin Fields, I mean, that's pretty impressive. Fields ain't really that good of a quarterback, if we're being real. I mean, he's a good Madden quarterback, but he does not have accuracy, which is what you need.
Not a big fan of the Steelers myself, but Fields did show out. I can see why you picked him. Keep it up. Make a big good team.
I don't know if they'll keep it up, though. That's what worries me about him, but I have to have faith.
It's true.
And we're going to have early predictions, me and you are, Blake. We're going to have early predictions on MVP and the Defensive Player of the Year this week.
Wow.
For the year, yep. So give me your MVP as of right now.
Top five, top three, or just one player? You gotta
one
make me
player
pick one player
for
here?
each, yes.
Wow, all right. The way too early MVP.
Way too early.
You got to think about it objectively here. You can't just say, okay, it's this guy because he had one big game, or it's this guy because he had one big game. Like Quentin Johnston, for example, he had a massive game. Is he going to keep that up? I don't think so. Got to think about consistency. Who's going to continue to put up stats?
That is a fact.
It's between two guys. My way too early MVP as of right now. At the end of the day, it was a simple choice. Trevor Lawrence is my way too early MVP.
Oh my God.
12 touchdowns, 1 pick. He's been really impressive, throwing for 350 yards a game. If he can keep that up, man, is he going to be good this year. Defensive Player of the Year? Let's take a look. You really got to narrow down your options here. There's a lot of great defensive players in this league. Quentin Williams has 8 TFLs and 2.5 sacks already. That is impressive. You know, we're looking at
really
Brian Burns. He
impressive.
has 3.5 sacks already. But I take my eyes off them. I look at one man who stands apart from the rest right now. Will he keep it up? I don't know. But I'm going to say he does. 19 tackles, 4 TFLs, 1 sack, and 5 interceptions already. Patrick Queen is my way too early Defensive Player of the Year.
That is a gamble, putting it on a middle linebacker, really.
That's right. That's right.
So what physical attributes make you think Patrick Surtain is him in some people's eyes?
Well, Patrick Surtain is not him, and I will continue to say this. I think he's overrated.
Wow. Overrated. That's a lot of things you could say about a lot of teams in this league. Overrated.
Certainly it is.
So I'll give you my way too early MVP. And it's a man wearing green. Man, that was doubted ever since he got replaced at halftime in college in the national championship. Jalen Hurts.
Talking about a great guy here.
Started off phenomenal in the year. Only lost because his defense couldn't get a stop, and they allowed a Hail Mary. I mean, who allows a Hail Mary these days? That's like rare.
It was awful.
I've seen Jalen Hurts crying a little bit on the sideline. He's at 72 completion percentage, 10 touchdowns, 2 picks, 140 rating, and 282 yards a game. He hasn't ran a lot, but I mean, do you have to when you have that O-line? I mean, let's be real. And Saquon, I mean, he doesn't have to run no more.
Got a great team around him.
They're paying all this money. I mean, you might as well let the quarterback sit in paradise. I mean, all right?
Absolutely.
And I'm going to give you my Defensive Player of the Year. I've thought a lot about this one, too. It's hard. A lot of people aren't playing up to par how they should be.
It's early on, though. They'll get the hang of it or they won't.
But another man who's on the underrated list. It came down to a last-second decision for me. Brian Burns.
Brian Burns. What a switch up.
12 tackles, 5 TFLs, and 3.5 sacks. I mean, are you kidding me? In 3 weeks. I mean, for the Giants, yes, they have a great D-line, but only 139 downs played. That's a lot less than somebody like Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. A lot of people. Less than Yadiabi and Kalijah Cansey. I know it depends on scheme, but that's my two for those two categories. Anything else you'd like to say before we go, Blake?
Just to add on to the Giants comment there, it's great that Brian Burns is presenting that well and playing that well. Fortunately, that offense has got to get their suspension-heavy attitude under control. Or they might be facing some time soon.
It's like if you don't replace the suspension on your car, you can end up crashing.
Absolutely. They could absolutely go straight into a cement wall if they keep that up.
Or if you're too low on your suspension, then you'll start scraping the ground.
A cement wall in Philadelphia even, maybe.
Maybe if you go high on your suspension, they'll start crying. You never know.
Maybe a division rival cement wall. Not hitting anything, of course, but maybe Philadelphia Eagles. I'm just going to come out and say it. Maybe the Philadelphia Eagles.
All right, and that's where we stop the glaze. Stop the glazing.
Maybe
Stop
the
the
Eagles.
glazing.
Maybe they're going to run the Eagles.
All right, and here is our outro. Thank you guys for tuning in, and enjoy the music.
Hello, it's